You bet.
Immigration enforcement can decrease the likelihood of a terrorist attack in the U.S. It's just one of many reasons it makes sense to know who's coming into the country and why. But for 4 years, the U.S. was flying blind. How vigilant should Americans be stateside, and whose job is it to make sure terror cells do not emerge or activate here? We're joined by former Secretary of Homeland Security Chad Wolf and former undercover CIA officer and Congressman Will Hurd. Welcome to you both, gentlemen. Mr. Secretary, what should Americans expect in the days and weeks to come? What are DHS and the Bureau looking for stateside in terms of something nefarious happening here?
Well, sure. Look, the Department of Homeland Security, along with FBI and the intelligence agencies, are looking for any credible threats, any credible information that says something is going to occur here in the homeland. Absent that, and DHS has just issued an advisory today saying there is no credible information or threat, but we need to be aware that Iran can obviously strike back. I think the most logical aspect for them to do that is in a cybersecurity attack of some kind. It seems to be not as direct. They often hide behind different threat actors in doing that. And we saw this in 2020 with the death of General Soleimani. So I think that's probably the most logical. There are cells here in the United States, such as Hezbollah and others, that they certainly could activate. I think that's going to be a little bit more aggressive. If they want to de-escalate, then you're likely to see some type of cyber attack.
Will, I want you to put on your CIA hat for a second, even though we served together and it's wonderful to see you again. Can you harmonize the seemingly disparate statements about Iran's nuclear capacity? Was the country close to a nuclear weapon or close to being close? And did it even matter?
Trey, my mother-in-law always reminds me that the Iranian government has been trying to kill or kidnap Americans since 1979. They've killed over 1,000 Americans in that time. In the last 2 years, they've conducted over 200 attacks on ships in and around the Hormuz Straits. They've attacked hundreds of times our forces in the Middle East. Whether the Iranian government was 1 day, 1 week, 1 year away from having weapons, they have been trying to pursue this for decades. And we took the opportunity to strike when their skies were wide open. We prevented putting a dangerous weapon into a dangerous regime. Now we have to be prepared, not only as Chad was explaining about people in the United States. We got to be worried about, do the Iranians try to do something like use drones to attack America, use cruise missiles to attack America? We need to make sure that we have a multi-layered defense. It's not just a golden dome, singular golden domes, in order to protect our population. We need to be using the latest and greatest technology, like coherent distributed networking, that makes things work together like as if they have one brain. This is the kinds of conversations that we need to be having in Washington to make sure that we're prepared.
All right, Chad, immigration is multifactorial. It's rule of law, it's national security, it's also border security. Do we have any idea, really any idea, who crossed the border and with what intentions during the Biden administration? I know that Mike gave us some statistics about the number of Iranian nationals, but I mean, how close to being accurate do you think that is, given the fact that we were sort of flying blind for 4 years?
Yeah, look, the stark reality, Trey, is that we know very little about who crossed that border. The numbers that were shown, obviously, are the ones that we apprehended, right? But then there are millions of gotaways. These are individuals that pay the cartels a premium to smuggle them across the border so that they don't encounter law enforcement. Obviously, they're doing that for nefarious reasons. And so whether it's Chinese nationals, whether it's Iranians, whether it's cartel members or the like, what we saw over 4 years come across that southern border has been was disastrous, right? Over 400 individuals on the watch list, government watch list, that were apprehended there. But the vast majority of folks were not apprehended, never encountered a Border Patrol agent. And those are the ones I think we're most concerned about. Tom Homan is most concerned about these individuals because they're here in the United States. We don't know where they are. We don't know why they wanted to come here illegally. And we don't know what their plans are. It's very, very difficult. Once they're here in the United States, it's very difficult to locate them and understand what they're doing. That's why it's really, really important to stop them or vet them, and then make sure that you understand who's coming into the country.
Will, before I let you go, I want to pick on your CIA expertise once again. There's talk about getting Iran back to the bargaining table, but in the same breath, sort of to quote your mother-in-law, Iran cannot be trusted. So if you look at the timeline from when the Shah was deposed, Iran has been targeting the U.S. for decades. So why go back to the bargaining table with a partner you can't trust?
Look, it's hard, and here's the reality. They're more interested. And we got to be clear. It's the Iranian government, not the Iranian people. The Iranian government is more interested in protecting uranium than protecting their own citizens. And the fact that they're never going to come to the table because they're going to lose their control and their power, and they feel like they're ultimately capitulating to the West. And so if they do, that would be great. We should all hope that happens, but the likelihood is slim. So we got to be ready to protect against ballistic missiles. We got to be ready to protect our troops in that region, and we got to be ready to protect against everything from drones, ballistic missiles, and cruise missiles at our homeland.
Chad and Will, thank you for your service to our country and for loaning it to us on a Sunday night. Hope to see you both soon.
Great. Thank you.
Take care.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.